Hi ma, good morning one and all. Welcome to RT classes C and CMA Guru. Today our discussion part is regarding batch costing. Such an easy topic ma, and concentrate more because this topic will help you to solve problems even in your materials chapter point of view under economic order quantity related concepts. That's the reason be careful and listen this concept carefully. See ma, batch costing. It is a method of costing. Our first one is job costing now, and our second one is batch costing. It involves grouping and allocating cost to a specific quantity of products produced in a single batch. So it involves grouping or allocating cost to a specific quantity of products produced in a single batch point of view. And so similar products clubbed together, we can call it as a batch itself. Yeah, a small similar kind of products clubbed together, we are calling it as a batch itself. Next, ma. Here cost will be calculated each batch wise separately. How you will do each job point of view cost separately, ma? Here each batch wise you will calculate cost separately. At the end you will calculate cost per unit. How to find out that means total cost of batch divided by number of units produced in that batch. This is where we will calculate ma cost per unit itself. Yeah, ma. And you can say batch costing is an extension to job costing also. Similar order clubbed together, we can call it as a batch. These grouping of costs allocated to a specific quantity of goods produced in that particular batch. Similar products clubbed together, we can call it as a batch itself, and each batch wise we will calculate the cost separately. How to find out cost per unit in a batch means total cost of the batch divided by the total number of units produced in that particular batch. Next, important concept, economic batch quantity. You can call it as EBQ, economic batch quantity. See, ma'am. it is a measure used in a batch to determine the quantity of units that can be produced at the minimum cost in a given batch. That is a minimum cost quantity of units in a batch. We maybe call it as EBQ itself. You can also call it as optimum batch quantity also. Under this EBQ, what are the costs associated with means setup cost. Second one is holding cost. Okay. How to find out EBQ means square root of 2AS by C. A equal to annual demand for the product, S equal to setting up cost per batch, C equal to carrying cost per unit of production. I mention holding cost, you can also call it as carrying cost itself. Sir, what is meant by setup cost means here? Setup cost means to set up the batch. Further, what is the cost I am incurring? What, sir? The setup cost means to set up or to form a batch. Further, how much cost I am incurring, you maybe call it as setup cost. What is meant by carrying cost or holding cost means once the production was done, until the goods are distributed or sent to the customer, until that stage, to hold the goods, what is the amount of cost we are incurring, you maybe call it as carrying cost itself. And remember, carrying cost always linking with per unit. Reason? If per unit cost is high, then we will purchase less number of goods. So automatically the holding inventory cost will decreases. So the price per unit or cost per unit is in a position to impact your holding or carrying cost. That's the reason sometimes to confuse you to find out the carrying cost, they maybe give percentages like average percentage on inventory, like that they may be express, but still you need to find out your carrying cost always as a percentage on per unit only. Got it, ma? And yeah, ma. So continue. So First we'll solve a few problems based on this, Nana. Then we will come back to discuss a few more formulas. See, Nana, from the following information, calculate economic batch quantity for a company using batch costing. Annual demand given, setting up cost per batch given, cost per unit provided, carrying cost given 6% per annum. So now see, annual demand equal to 2400 units. Next, setting up cost per batch equal to 100. Carrying cost equal to 200 into 6%, that is equal to 12 rupees. The formula for EBQ equal to square root of 2AS by C, that is equal to square root of 2 into 2400 into 100 divided by 12. That is equal to 200 units. Okay, Nama. These are all MCQ level questions, Nana. Next, a customer has been ordering 90,000 special design metal columns at the rate 18,000 per order during the past years. The production cost comprises 120 for material, 60 for labor, 20 for fixed overheads. Totally cost per unit how much, Nana? 120 plus 60 plus 20, that is equal to 200 rupees. It costs 1500 to set up one run, 18,000 columns, and inventory carrying cost is 15%. This customer may buy at least 5,000 columns this year. The company could like to avoid making 5 different production runs. Find the most economic production run they are asking. Annual demand equal to 90,000. Setup cost per batch equal to 1500. Carrying cost equal to 200 into 15%, that is equal to 30 rupees. EBQ formula equal to square root of 2AS by C, that is equal to square root of 2 into 90,000 into my setup cost given per batch 1500 divided by carrying cost per unit per annum, that is equal to 30. That is equal to 3000 columns. This is the second bit, Nana. Now third bit, concentrate, important question. AB Limited committed to supply 24,000 bearings per annum on a steady basis. It is estimated that 10 paisa as inventory holding cost per bearing per month, but always we required carrying cost per annum, and setup cost per run of bearing manufacture is 324. What they are asking, what is the optimum run size? Optimum run size means nothing but EBQ only. So first bit will calculate annual demand equal to 24,000 bearings. Setup cost per batch equal to 324 rupees. Carrying cost equal to 10 paisa per month into 12, that is equal to 1.2. So most economic purchase quantity or optimum run size equal to 2AS by C, that is equal to 2 into 24,000 into 324 divided by 1.2, that is equal to how much, Nana? 3600 bearings. This is the first bit, Nana. What is the second bit? What is the minimum inventory holding cost at optimum run size? Where your inventory cost is minimum at EBQ. So listen this formula. Inventory cost equal to average inventory into carrying cost per unit per annum, that is equal to 3600 by 2 into 1.2, that is equal to 2160 rupees. So this is what's our minimum inventory carrying cost. Assuming the company has a policy of manufacturing 6000 bearings per run, how much extra cost the company could be incurred as compared to optimum run suggested? Before starting with this, let's listen this. If you want to find out total cost, discount is not given in the question. Total cost means total setup cost plus total carrying cost. So total setup cost formula is what? Number of batches into setup cost per batch. How to find out number of batches? Annual demand divided by batch size. Yes sir, this is the total setup cost formula. And already we discussed total carrying cost or total inventory cost, whatever it may be. Total carrying cost equal to average inventory into carrying cost per unit per annum. How to find out average inventory means batch size divided by 2. Some people call it as EBQ divided by 2. But we don't calculate always our inventory cost only at EBQ only, Nana. Sometimes we may be calculated at some another situations also. That's the reason I am using the formula batch size divided by 2. Then my next total cost, discount is given. Then my purchase price plus total setup cost plus total carrying cost. So what is added? Purchase price. Remaining entire formula will be same, Nana. So how to find out purchase price? Annual demand into price per unit or cost per unit. Sir, why you discussed these formulas means in the third bit if you compare the things, what they are asking now, they want to order 6,000 bearings per run. Previously it was at EBQ, how many bearings one batch means one run, production run means 3600 bearings. But when it comes to 6000 bearings, now how much extra cost you will incur if you don't run optimum run size. So if I want to compare, I need to compare between both the situations. So here 6000 bearings point of view, no discount is given. That's the reason your total cost means you need to include your total setup cost and total carrying cost is enough. Okay. So now statement showing total cost. So particulars 3600 bearings, 6000 bearings. First start with total setup cost. What is the formula? Number of setups. Directly I am using in examination you are supposed to write like number of batches into setup cost per batch, that is equal to 24,000 divided by 3600 into 324. Here 24,000 divided by 6,000 into 324, that is equal to 2160 this one, and this is equal to 1296. Next total carrying cost equal to average inventory into carrying cost per unit per annum. And one interesting point at EBQ, total of your ordering cost and total of your setup cost and total of carrying cost both are equal. Here 6000 divided by 2 into 1.2, that is equal to 3600. Total 4896, this is 4320. How much extra cost we are incurring, extra cost incurred equal to 4896 minus 4320, that is equal to 576 rupees. This is the way we are supposed to calculate. Okay, now move to our next problem. This is different question. Even if you check with the previous examination question, it was there. So concentrate. Component gold is made entirely in cost center 100. Material cost is 6 paisa per component and each component take 10 minutes to produce. The machine operator is paid 72 paisa per hour. So one component, how much time you required? 10 minutes. 1 hour if operator works, how much amount I will pay? 72 paisa. What is for set up the concerned things? You required machine. Per machine, how much you need to pay per hour? 1 rupee 50 paisa. Per setting of the machinery to produce the component gold takes 2 hours 20 minutes itself. That means these 2 hours 20 minutes I required machinery, these 2 hours 20 minutes I required operator also. So when it comes to my setup time, these two costs will coming into the picture. One is operator wages, second one was overheads regarding machine point of. These two costs I will incur for 2 hours 20 minutes itself. How we will calculate. Let's wait few more minutes, you will get the clarity. On the basis of information, prepare cost sheet showing the production and setup costs, both the total and per component, assuming that a batch of 10 components, 100 components, 1000 components itself. Same model question you have in the past examination. Please check with that question once if you understand this question completely. First we'll start with some working notes. Nana. Start with setup cost. Okay, how much time operator I need to pay wages? (2 hours 20 minutes). That is 140 minutes. Now if you understand, for 60 minutes operator I am paying 72 paisa. For 140 minutes, how much I am supposed to pay? That is equal to 0.72 into 140 divided by 60. That is equal to 1.68. Sir, what is this setup time operator wages? That means 140 minutes operator need to work. Sir, this is for 10 component or 1 component? If you want to start your production, whether it is 1 component, 10 components, 100 component, 1000 component, setup time is same. So for that setup time, I need to pay operator wages. That means for all the situations, what is the setup time operator wages means? 1 rupee 68 paisa only. Okay, same way overhead. So what they mention overhead? For 60 minutes, 1 hour I am paying 1 rupee 50 paisa. Then 140 minutes, how much we are supposed to pay? That is equal to 1.5 into 140 minutes divided by 60 minutes. That is equal to 3.5. This overheads for how many components? This is for setup. 10 components, 100 components, 1000 components, your overhead cost for total is same. Per component means divided by that many components itself. This is setup cost. Next, when it comes to production cost point of view, particulars 10 components, 100 components, 1000 components point of view. Okay. Time required. Each component they said 10 minutes. That is equal to 100 minutes. Here 1000 minutes. Here 10,000 minutes. Because at the rate 10 minutes per component. Then operator wages. 60 minutes 72 paisa. 100 minutes, how much? Yeah, that is equal to 1 rupee 20 paisa. Same way, 60 minutes 0.72, 1000 minutes, how much? That is equal to 12 rupees. Next, 60 minutes 0.72, 10,000 minutes, how much? That is equal to 120 rupees. This is what operator wages. Same way Nana overheads during production point of, because you required machine components point of view. What they said, for 60 minutes 1.5, 100 minutes how much? 100 into 1.5 divided by 60, that is equal to 2.5. Then 60 minutes 1.5, 1000 minutes, how much? That is equal to 25. Same way, 60 minutes 1.5, 10,000 minutes, how much? That is equal to 250. Okay, now 2.5, 25, 250. Okay, this is the way we are supposed to do. This is what on production point of view. This is what setup time point of view. I hope so you understand the concept. So for once you set up the machinery, then only you can do production if you want. So if you want to set up, you require 2 hours 20 minutes. You require 2 hours 20 minutes, machine required to set up. For that I need to pay per hour 1 rupee 50 paisa, as well as to set up the machinery I required operator as well as. If I required operator means I need to pay wages for operator as well as. That's the reason what I am paying. Sir, for operator 1 rupee 68 paisa I am paying for setting up the machinery. And for machinery, simply you can consider higher charges. For set up the machinery, I need to pay 3.5. This is for how many components? For all the components. This is the setup time, 10, 100, 1000, 150, 250, 10,000, whatever it may be. This is the total setup cost. If you want per component, you need to divide it by with the things. This is what production cost point of view. So if you want to do production, 10 components, each component you take 10 minutes. For 10 components 100 minutes, 1000 components 10,000 minutes you require. Each 60 minutes I am paying 72 paisa per worker. Then automatically to do 10 components he need to spend 100 minutes. Then I am supposed to pay 1 rupee 20 paisa. For 10 components 1 rupee 20 means 100 components 12 rupees, 1000 component 120 rupees. Same way if I want to do production, I required machinery. That's the reason I hired machinery. For that each hour I need to pay 1 rupee 50 paisa. Per producing 10 components I will use 100 minutes of machinery. For that I am supposed to pay 2 rupee 50 paisa for 10 components. For 100 components 25. For 1000 components 250 rupees itself. This is our working notes itself. Now we need to prepare cost sheet itself. Cost sheet we are preparing. Particulars 10, 100, 1000. Under that per unit amount, per unit amount, per unit amount. First production cost. Production cost means don't feel that only wages and overheads only. We have material cost also. What they said, material cost component is 6 paisa. So per unit is 6 paisa in all the situations. How many units? 10 units, that is equal to 60 paisa. 100 units, that is equal to 6 rupees. 1000 units, that is equal to 60 rupees. Because each component is 6 paisa, 10 component 60 paisa, 100 component 6 rupees, 1000 component 60 rupees. Next month. Operators wages. We already calculated 1.2, 12, 120. Per component means 0.12, 0.12, 0.12. Sir, how we got per component 12 paisa? 120 divided by 1000. 12 paisa. 12 divided by 100, 12 paisa. Next, 1.2 divided by 10, 12 paisa. Like that. Next, overheads. We got 2.5, 25, 250. So per component 0.25, 0.25, 0.25. This is none, both will cover for working note 2 point of view. These two will cover. If you add until this, these are all production cost, means variable cost per unit will be same, in total will changes. Then setup cost, under that operator wages 1.68 irrespective of the components, because setup cost is fixed. So divided by 1000, 0.00168, 0.0168, 0.168. Then overheads both belongs to working note 1. 3.5, 3.5, 3.5, 0.0035, 0.035, 0.35, 0.518, 0.0518, 0.00518, 5.18, 5.18, 5.18. Make it as A, make it as B, then you will get the total cost, your product cost plus your setup cost. That is equal to 0.948, 9.48, 0.4818, 48.18, 435.18, 0.43518. This is the way we are supposed to calculate our total cost itself. Yeah, very important and very different question. Please concentrate on this kind of question. And once check with the study material as well as if we have any other things, we will go for it. Just check it once, Nana. Once see this illustration as well as, so Epitome Pen Inc. had the following budgeted overheads for the year based on the normal activity levels. Welding assembly budgeted 12,000 for 3,000 labor hours, 20,000 for 2,000 labor hours point of view. Okay. So now selling and administrative overheads are 25% of factory cost. An order for 500 Brazils made as batch number 38 incurred the following costs. Materials 24,000, labor 200 hours in the welding department 5 per hour, 400 hours in the welding department and 10 per hour. 1000 was paid for the hire of X-ray equipment for testing the accuracy of the welding required to calculate the cost per unit for batch number 38. Okay, ma. So we'll solve this question. This is newly added in the study material, ma. That's the reason we'll take the Yeah. So now we are supposed to calculate cost per unit of batch number 38 itself. Now if you understand here, this is budgeted part provided, Nana. So now if I have 3000 labor hours, then I may be incur overheads of 12,000. So overhead rate per labor hour, under that first welding, Nana. How much budgeted overheads? 12,000. This is what I am expecting for how many labor hours? 3000 labor hours. So what is the labor hour rate per labor hour? 4 rupees per labor hour. Yeah, when it comes to assembly, Nana, we are incurring 20,000 rupees for a labor hours of 2000. So what is the overhead rate per labor hour? 10 rupees per labor hour. Okay. If you understand the things, how many labor hours? 200 labor hours, 400 labor hours for welding department. It's a printing mistake, I think so. This is for welding department. This is for assembly department. Okay. Now we need to calculate the cost per unit of batch number 38 itself. Calculation of cost per unit for batch number 38. Okay, let's see ma. Particulars and amount. Already if you understand, material cost already given 24,000. Material cost 24,000. Under that labor cost, Nana. Under that we have two departments. So welding and assembly. How many hours? 200 into 5, that is equal to 1000 rupees. Assembly 400 into 10, 10 is given, yeah, 10, that is equal to 4000 rupees. Total your labor cost is 5000 itself. In addition to that, 1000 was paid for hire of X-ray equipment for testing the accuracy of welds. So now these expenses, this is higher charges of specific equipment. If the same higher charges if you paid normally, that should be covered under factory overheads. Whenever you are incurring the same cost in related to a specific asset, that should be covered under direct expenses. That's the reason direct expenses 1000 rupees. Totally we are getting a prime cost of 30,000. Next, Nana, what is overheads? Under that welding point of view, how many labor hours we have? 200. What is overhead rate per labor hour? 4 rupees. That is equal to, Nana, 800. Then assembly point of view, 400 into 10, that is equal to 4000. Totally how much, Nana? 4800. So total cost how much? 34,800 is your factory cost. Okay. How much they want to recover? Selling and distribution expenses, 25% of factory cost. So add selling and distribution overheads in bracket 25% on factory cost. So 8,700. Then you will get a total cost, that is 43,500 rupees. But what they are asking, cost per component itself. Here I am calculating for how many batches, order 500 batches. So cost per unit equal to 43,500 divided by 500 units, that is equal to 87 rupees per unit itself. This is the newly added question in study material. Even that part also we covered. With this we done our batch costing problems under CMA Inter point of view. I hope so you understand the session. Bye sir. Have a nice day and we'll meet in the next session with our next chapter itself.